walks up to me and he's like, dude, do you know who any of these people are? And it's like a bunch of Phillies fans, like old ones like this. And, dude, I got to Von Hayes and I just started laughing my ass off. I was like, dude, I love this.
Dude, I was cracking up. So I told you the story, but I sent my mom a meme that I saw on Twitter. It wasn't a meme, it was a tweet about Willie Stargell, about his Hall of Fame induction, the way he was dressed. And he did look like this. It was like he's dressed like a police captain who's tired of loose cannon cops, like with the thick mustache and, sunglasses. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what he looks like. And I sent it to my mom, and she was like, I'm pretty sure I saw him when he played in the minors for the Charleston Charlies. So we start talking about it, and she was like, I don't see him listed here, but I could have sworn it was him. So I start looking up the Charleston Charlies and who came through the organization, and Von Hayes pops up. I was like, are you shitting me?
No one knows who Von Hayes is, man.
All right, so we're here to talk Super Bowl 57, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Which is between the Kansas City Chiefs, I almost said Kansas City Royals since we were talking baseball, and your Philadelphia Eagles, James. How are you feeling? It's always great when your team's in the Super Bowl.
I mean, it's sweet, man. I didn't expect, I actually thought they were going to be better than a lot of people. I picked 11 wins, I think, at the beginning of the season but I didn't expect this at all. I really didn't. Way better than I thought, and that's always cool. We talked, not that long ago about how expectations are, kind of what can make your season, and this was a cool ass season because I didn't have super high expectations, and they ended up exceeding them, and those are the funnest seasons. So it's sweet, and I can also say I actually have so much respect for the Chiefs. Their fans are really nice and really.
So I don't know about you. I've seen a lot of talk on social media about how people hate these two teams and the fans and all this stuff, and I'm like, where are y'all getting? I love these fan bases.
Yeah, and I totally get somebody hating the Eagles fan base.
Yeah, I get that.
But the Chiefs have a good fan base. I like them. It's not like they have they're not the Yankees or the Patriots where they have a long history of winning. They have, Andy Reid. I obviously love Andy Reid. I love Patrick Mahomes. Love Pat Mahomes. Travis Kelce. They're a cool team. I'm glad we're playing them because I just don't hate them, and they've been pretty respectful the whole time. They've been really cool. You know who I fucking hate now though, and I know you agree. The Niners.
Fuck the Niners,
dude. What are they talking about this week, dude?
What have they said? I haven't really paid attention to the Niners.
They have been, dude. Robbie Gould's talking shit. Brandon Ayuk's talking shit. Debo's talking shit. Robbie Gould is
the kicker.
He's 40.
I couldn't believe he's still out there. When he kicked off in the NFC Championship, I was like, I remember that dude being on the Bears in high school. Yeah, and I think he had been in the league for a couple of years at that point.
He's definitely late 30s, but dude, they just I totally get how they probably feel a little gypped because they didn't have a quarterback second half. But two things I would say to that. One, and I don't care what anybody says, you were not winning that game with Brock Purdy.
Oh, I thought after the first drive, I was like, this might be ball game.
He got fumbled on the first drive. You guys were, and the Eagles scored on the first drive. That's one. But then two, dude, the score wasn't you know what I mean? This whole we would have won with I don't know, man.
What was the final? 31-7.
31-7, and it could have been more. Minshew was
it should have been a whole lot more.
Yeah, they could have easily been more. So I don't know. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
No, the Niners are insufferable. Classless organization, classless fan base.
I never knew that till now. I really didn't, because
I say that mostly just because they've been kicking my ass in the postseason for a couple times in the last decade.
Well, we got them for you, bud.
Oh, I was all for it.
This is what I wanted to say. Brock Purdy didn't tear his ACL or something on the bus ride over, dude. He got knocked out of the game by Hassan Reddick. Stop. It's football, and people get hurt.
Exactly. Also, you're down to your third-string quarterback. Most teams don't have a prayer of going to the Super Bowl with a third-string quarterback. You were fortunate to be in that situation. Be happy about it.
Oh, man.
It was unfortunate. The injuries that they had at the quarterback position, obviously a fluke. I mean...
And it would be different if they were like, listen, like, good game Eagles, like, I really wish we had our quarterback, like,
Yeah.
it sucked. That I'm fine with, like, all good, but it's just, we would have won, like, that's such an unimpressive win.
I'm not convinced that
they won, like, I don't know, it was just lame. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
I'm not convinced the Niners would have won that game, even with a healthy Purdy.
Dude, nobody was winning in the league. Like, come on, let's be fucking serious here. Wasn't happening.
So Super Bowl this Sunday. We're recording this on Friday. This has to. I said this to you. This might be the most excited I've been for a Super Bowl, probably since that Denver-Seattle Super Bowl in New York.
I think it's about as 50-50 as you can get on not like the rosters or anything, but like who do you think is going to win? Because I think it's clearly superior roster versus the best player in the world and coach in the world. So like it's unstoppable force versus the immovable object, in my opinion. So I think it's gonna be really cool.
Excellent Joker reference.
Yeah.
I mean, just a lot of really good storylines. Andy Reid Bowl going up against his former team. You got the Kelsey brothers, meeting in a pair of brothers meeting in the Super Bowl, playing against each other in the Super Bowl, first time ever. Obviously, we've had coaches who are brothers coach against each other, but we've never had players. And then there are some, I don't want to say legacies on the line, but there are implications on the line here. With the win, Mahomes and Reid catapult themselves into the same conversation as Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, Chuck Noll, Terry Bradshaw, you name it. Then on the other side, I said this today, Howie Roseman could become the first who you used to talk shit about.
Hey, everyone did, to be fair.
I know. Could become the first general manager, I believe, since Al Davis. I think I got that right. To win a second Super Bowl with a different quarterback and head coach.
Well, I'm pretty sure I read he's the first. Yeah, he would be the first.
From what I saw today,
and I could be wrong. I don't know that well enough.
Maybe in the NFC. The Raiders are obviously the AFC.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure his first two Super Bowls, Al Davis with the Raiders, one was with John Madden and Kenny Stabler, and the second was Tom Flores, and I couldn't name the other quarterback. I don't think it was Stabler. Let me look.
It was against the Eagles.
Was it really? That's funny.
Yeah. Also, a trend is going to be bucked, and I think that's really cool no matter who wins. If Mahomes wins, it's going to be the first time a quarterback in top five highest paid quarterback has won a Super Bowl. So it can kind of justify all of the, should we actually pay somebody, top money because are we going to be able to win? Now Mahomes is a special case, but that's cool. And then Jalen would be the first dual threat ever to win. I think that would be really cool as well. I think, that's going to happen eventually soon anyway in the sense that, it's kind of the way the NFL is going, but I think that would be pretty cool too.
So I looks like I'm correct. Al Davis was the owner, general manager, the head coach of the Raiders. The second time was Tom Flores, and their quarterback was Jim Plunkett. I don't see Kenny Stabler on the roster, who maybe he might have been hurt, but still, he didn't play in the game. So anyway, implications, I wouldn't say legacies are on the line. Implications are on the line here.
And I want to throw a stat out there. If the Eagles win, they have more Super Bowls since Mahomes came in the league than Mahomes. Just saying. We went to the draft.
Yeah.
Won that
I was
year.
like, where are you going with this?
He didn't play that year. I just think that would be cool.
Well, you're going to have I shouldn't say that. Game's not even started. I was like, you're going to get more than me. I was like, wait a minute. We don't know that. There was something you just said that I wanted to comment on. What were you talking about?
Dual threat or
I remember when Patrick Mahomes signed that ginormous contract and everyone thought it was ridiculous, basically it was in total, it wasn't the number that they made it out to be, but it was on paper $500 million over 10 years or something like that. And everyone thought that was ridiculous. But he's not making that much money. They have spread that around over years and years and years. Who gives a shit?
Underpaid.
Yeah.
Now, it's relative. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's making a lot of money. They still have to be really good in the draft and all that to, like, have a good team that can make playoffs.
I remember getting in an argument with my friend William about this. He was like, how can you justify that? I was like, because he's like 22 and he's won an MVP and a Super Bowl. He's just getting he's not even reached his prime yet. He's just getting started.
I don't think he's probably entering his prime right now, which is insane to think about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love Pat Mahomes. I love good quarterback play. I just really do. So Pat Mahomes is one of my favorite players for sure.
So let's go ahead and talk about the game. We have very similar opinions about this game, unless you have changed your mind.
I kind of just want to give my take on it really quick, if you don't mind. And you know my take. So it's pretty even. I'd say probably like 55% of analysts are picking Eagles, 45 are picking Chiefs. It's like really.
I've heard a lot of Chiefs. Granted, I haven't really looked or listened.
Yeah, 60 is like 2/3 Eagles, but then like CS was like 60-40 Chiefs. So it's like I think the Eagles maybe have a couple more, but it's about 50-50. I mean, it's pretty close. But every single analysis that I see for the Chiefs winning is exactly the same. I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. And it's like, I get that. I swear to God, that is a good enough reason for me to pick the Chiefs. But that's not really analysis. And I think we have a lot of data that the best quarterback rarely wins in the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Patrick Mahomes has had 2 very bad Super Bowl games. He won one, granted, but if Jimmy G hits that throw, they probably lose both.
Yeah.
Dude, he has 2 touchdowns in 2 games and 4 picks in 2 games. And my point being, he's not unbeatable. So it's like, I think when you actually I think when people were picking the Eagles, they were like, all right, here's why I think the Eagles are going to win. And it's like a paragraph. But then it's like, here's why the Chiefs are going to win. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I get that. Again, that might be the reason they win. But I don't think that I wouldn't pick them because of that. I mean, we've seen – I mean, let's look at it this way. Those Patriots teams that played the Giants, where the Patriots were, had the better quarterback, all that. Why'd they lose? D-line. Both games, D-line. I mean, I think the Eagles are going to have Pat Mahomes running for his life. They're going to score points. I think it's going to be close. I'm not necessarily picking a blowout, though. I think it's much more likely the Eagles kick the Chiefs' ass than the other way around.
Yes.
I think it's close or the Eagles kick the Chiefs' ass. I don't see the Chiefs running away with this because – I think they'd have to pass a lot and kind of sit in the pocket to do it, and you just aren't going to be able to. I think they have fairly weak tackles. I mean, Orlando Brown isn't bad. I believe Wiley is their other right tackle. He's actually not good. He's near the bottom of the pack as far as pass blocking goes, and he's going to be up on Hassan Reddick. So what I told you, and the reason that I am picking the Eagles, obviously I'm a fan, but like just subjectively is I only see one way the Chiefs can win this game. And that's Patrick Mahomes having, a godlike game. And there's probably at least four ways off the top of my head I think the Eagles can win this game. I think Jalen can end up having a really good game, though I do think they're going to run the ball all over him. And that's the reason I truly picked them. If you've heard me talking to artists all week, that's what I keep saying.
Oh, that's what I meant to ask. How's it going between you two? How's divided?
Pretty friendly. I think we're both like kind of trying to talk ourselves into the dub. It's been a lot of friendly trash talk and stuff. Artist is like me. He doesn't hate the Eagles, just like I don't really hate the Chiefs. Right now he does, and right now I do.
Right.
But
if it goes against one of you, which it will go against one of y'all, things might change after that.
Well, Artist is a good sport. He'll come to the parade with me if they win.
Oh, really? So. Yeah. I know y'all went in 2017 to the parade.
Long story short, I think, Jalen could have a really good game with the wide receivers and they can win because they play a lot of press coverage and they don't have great corners. Snead's okay. I think they're kind of overrating him a little at this point. I think they could run all over him, like genuinely just run to the point where they can't stop it. I truly do think that they're going to do that. I could see them, the D-line just absolutely mauling Patrick Mahomes. So I was listening to, it's called Stay Hot. It has like Theo Ash, Matt Sponheimer, a bunch of these kids who I actually like. They're like 20 years old and they're actually pretty insightful. But he's like, yeah, dude, we've seen this movie before where they had the best quarterback and they played a better roster and they got their ass. Now, granted, the Chiefs had, injuries on the offensive line that game. I think had a lot to do with why they were in his face all night. But they also had Tyreek Hill. They don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. Yeah. So what I'm doing, if I'm no defensive coordinator, but I'm putting a linebacker and then bracketing a safety on Travis Kelce every play, and I'm making you beat me with Juju Smith-Schuster and MVS on the outside. I just don't think they can do it. So that's my final prediction is 27-24 Eagles.
Okay. I am actually in total agreement. I remember in 2017. It's very similar. I said going into that game that Philly had the better roster. They had the matchup, but I didn't want to bet against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. It's not Brady and Belichick. Granted, Mahomes and Reed are fantastic, but it's not Brady and Belichick. And I look at this matchup. Show me, other than Mahomes going nuclear, like you said, where the Chiefs can exploit the matchup. I just don't think they can.
I'm saying that could happen. I think everyone is in agreement that he could have 350, 3-touchdown game, and they could win by a touchdown. And I don't think anyone would be like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. But that's their only shot, in my opinion. He's not going to have a 270, 2 touchdowns in a pit game and win this, in my opinion. I just don't see it.
So when they won the Super Bowl in it's similar to that game too. When they played San Francisco in 2019, I thought the same thing. I was like, Niners are better in the trenches. They're more physical. And at that time, the Chiefs' defense really wasn't that good. Now, since Mahomes has taken over, I think this is their best defense that they've had.
It definitely is.
But I was like, I think the Niners are going to win this game. And for 3.5 quarters, it looked like they were. And then, but the thing that Chiefs team had was they could score like that.
Tyreek.
And home run. And that's what happened. And that changed the game, and that's how they won.
Not to interrupt you, James is just more dynamic in the sense that, like, Jalen can get a 3rd and 7 with his legs, and Jimmy G couldn't. So I think that's one. Jalen's 16-1 in his last 17 games. He's like 22-3 in his last 25 games. I mean, he usually wins because it's hard to stop him from getting first downs and shit like that. But the other thing I would say is, I mean, they had a shot to win at the end of the game. Jimmy G throws the ball in a little bit more of an arc, and they literally have not a walk-off, but pretty much a walk-off touchdown for the win. Maybe Jalen misses that same throw and they lose the same way. Sure, I could see that happening, but that game was there for them to win.
Well, my point with that was this Chiefs team can't do that.
No, I agree.
I mean, as great as Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are, I don't think that connection is going to be able to get those home run plays like we've seen. In order for the Chiefs to win, they're going to have to run the ball. I think they're going to have to keep the ball from Philadelphia and just stick to their identity, which is kind of what they've done this year. They have ran the ball. They've had success with Isaiah Pacheco.
Andy Reid is not a runner, man.
Yeah.
He's going around the yard.
And then I also wanted to touch up on, you said the Eagles being able to run the ball. The Eagles, they've played, 19 games so far this season? They have rushed for at least 111 yards in all but 5 of those games. 2 of those games were without Jalen Hurts, and the other 3, Jalen Hurts balled out.
Yeah.
They have been willing, or they have been able to impose their will on opposing teams in the run game. They did it to San Francisco, which was a very stout defense just a couple weeks ago. Then on top of that, they've ran for over 130 yards. I think it was 12 times this year, and they've also eclipsed 200, 250. They've eclipsed 350 yards before against Green Bay.
They've eclipsed 250 yards 3 times and 350 yards once. And now that was a bit of an anomaly. I think by the end, I don't want to tackle this guy anymore type shit. But yeah, I've been saying it to artists all week. I'll just send them 250. Not that I think they're going to rush for 250.
No, but they're going to go out there. I think they're going to. Kansas City's defensive front's going to have the game of their lives. Philadelphia has a bunch of bullies up front, and I just don't think Kansas City is going to be able to slow it down over the course of the game. I think Philly's going to run for, probably 120, between 120 to 150. I don't think they're going to just run the ball all over them, but they might. Kansas City's fared somewhat well against the run this year.
No, I agree, but last week was all I needed to see. It's funny because, I see it. The yards per carry against San Fran wasn't great. It wasn't like they ran all over them, but when they needed to get first downs running the ball, which I think is so important, they got him every time. I don't remember it being 3rd and 3 and they didn't get a first down one time. When they got down in the red zone, they scored running plays every time. So Bolton's a good linebacker. Chris Jones is all world. I mean, he's literally one of the best players in the league either side of the ball. But Stoutland shuts down single good defensive linemen. You look at any time we've played Aaron Donald, he hasn't done shit. Nick Bosa didn't do shit last week. Dexter Lawrence didn't do shit against he's really good at being we can scheme this one guy out of the game. And anyone else being able to stop them, I don't see it. Their safeties are average. Their linebackers are good, not great. Their corners suck. Frank Clark is really good in the playoffs, but I don't think he's that great at stopping the run. He's more of a pass rusher. That's how I see the Eagles winning. I see them running for over 200 yards. I wouldn't
be surprised. the Eagles can't afford to turn this in. Or I'm sorry, not the Eagles, the Chiefs can't afford to turn this into a track meet. I just don't think, unless Mahomes has the game of his life, is going to be able to keep up with the Eagles if they get going with MVS and Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce.
Yeah. And listen, I do not want this to happen. I do not. But dude, his ankle's messed up. Like, sure, is he percent? Dude, he gets hit just slightly the wrong way, man, and he's going to be jumping around on one foot out there, and then it's over. So,
well, at that point, you're not going to apologize for winning a Super Bowl.
Oh, no. I'm just saying I don't want that to happen. I'm not like they could just fall on his ankle and he's out. Like, I want to beat that. Like, I want to beat the Chiefs.
Right.
Like, the actual Chiefs. I want to beat Pat Mahomes. And I was saying this to artists the other day. It would be really cool if the only two Super Bowls the Eagles have are against probably the two best quarterbacks of all time.
I was literally just thinking that. You see, you would have that would be good for you. You know, you can always hang your hat on that. You know, mine is just against Ben Roethlisberger. Not nearly as cool.
Dude, that was. I mean, they were going for their third Super Bowl at that point, or second.
He was, going for the third.
They won. Well, I thought they won in 2011.
No, that was the Giants.
Oh,
They won in 05 and 08. Yeah, 05 was the Seahawks. 08 was the Mike Wallace or Santonio Holmes?
Yeah,
catch against the Cardinals, and then 2010 was the Packers that they lost.
Larry Fitz scored a touchdown with like 2 minutes left.
Oh, I was cheering for the Cardinals hard that game.
So was I.
I think this has a chance to be a really good game, but my official prediction on my blog, I think, was Eagles 34, Chiefs 24.
I read that, by the way. I'm banned on Facebook. That's why I haven't commented on it. Because I was cursing people out in the Eagles group.
That explains why you haven't responded to anything I've said on...
I've been 30 days. I get it back in, I think, like 3 days, 4 days, something
like that.
That's
funny.
I had one quarrel with what you said in that. That you said the 2017 defense was better, and it's not.
Okay.
The D-line has more sacks, and, dude, our corners were... Jalen Mills was our number one corner at that time.
Yeah, I mean...
Now, granted, they had Malcolm Jenkins, Nigel
Yeah,
Brown.
I was thinking of Malcolm Jenkins.
But dude, that was... No, I mean, he probably won us that game with that Brandon Cooks hit.
Right.
So, fair, but I just think the corners are so much better that they can play. You know what I mean? That's all. That's all I mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, D-line, you could argue this year's D-line is better, just as good.
But I would say that's a push. You could say, you know what I mean? But I think the fact that they actually have, corners on the outside that can actually lock up a receiver.
They can.
Means...
I mean, Kelce might be able to have a good game. I don't know.
I'm cool with him having a good game. I'm him having any less than 80 yards, and he's going to have 80 yards and a touchdown minimum. I wouldn't be surprised if he had 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, but I still don't think that's going to be enough. I'm dead serious.
I would put probably Darius Slay on him.
I would put Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on him.
Well, him too, yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. You need someone to get MVS's speed to cover him.
Yeah, I mean, he is a burner. I'll give him that. He might.
Yeah, but I mean, he's limited. I mean, let's be honest.
No, 100%. Yeah, he's a number 3 receiver. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we can keep going, but
I mean,
we're both taking the Eagles and the points.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Originally, I was saying it was going to be a 1-point game, so I said take the Chiefs and the points.
I will say, after posting that blog, I've backtracked a little bit on that score. I'm like, I have a feeling it's going to be closer than that, but...
I'm telling you right now, my boy, we have, a big group chat where, artists is in it and stuff, and then him and I will, text separate when we're saying something that we don't want to just get, bitched at about the Eagles in. He texted me earlier today, and he's like, yeah, dude, I actually think they're going to win by, 10 to 14 points. He's just like, I don't see it. This whole, oh, Pat Mahomes can't lose. He's hurt, and he has before. He got fucking waxed in a Super Bowl.
That's another thing. I don't know if Kansas City can keep him upright against Philly's defensive line.
For him to have a bad game. Stop doing this thing where it's Pat's definitely going to go for 350 and 3 TDs. So, can the Eagles beat that? It's
that's not. Well, that's the other thing. That's not been the Chiefs' game this year.
Exactly. They scored 20 points up to the last second last week, or 2 weeks ago. Dude, They're the best.
They kind of started that way, and then ever since, they've won like 13 of the last 14. But during that stretch, I think they've eclipsed 30 points four times in those 14 games. The rest of their games have been 27 to 17 kind of deal.
Bunch of one-score games.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
this is not the Kansas City offense that is that dynamic, even though their numbers show it.
You don't have to have some guy being like, holy shit, Tyreek Hill is going to go for a bomb. I need to back up. Like, I don't think they're going to be able to ball that well. Because, not that they won't, because the Eagles don't have the best run defense. It got much improved after they got Linval.
I will say, that is the one area. If Kansas City can run the ball well, they're going to have a chance to win.
Oh, 100%. But this is my thing. It's not it's will Andy Reid run the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
He will. I'm not joking. That's not what he does. I think Pat Mahomes is going to throw the ball 45 times.
I don't think Pacheco, which has kind of been their bell cow during this stretch, has rushed for over 20 times a game. I think he's been around 10 to 20 carries.
Yeah. That's just how Andy Reid goes. He considers, and he's been saying this literally since the early 2000s, he considers any touch behind the line of scrimmage a run. You know what I mean? So if it's a swing pass, if it's a screen, he considers that a run play. So he hit 15 touches. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's back. Doesn't scare me at all, but he's back. He can catch some balls out of the backfield. Every time I start talking about these players, I'm like, they're not going to lose. I'm sorry, man. I just don't see it.
The closer we get to this game, the more I like the Eagles.
Yeah, and like I said, dude, I'm going to repeat myself here, but like if you go look at the analysis when people are like coming up for reason, you wrote your analysis out. Like the analysis is, they have Pat Mahomes. That's not analysis. Like, why do you think Pat Mahomes is going to do so well? I mean, what matchup do you think he's going to exploit? They don't have any. So I don't know. And then when I sit there, if you go position by position or group by group, because I don't like saying, Chris Jones is better than Javon Hargrave. No shit. But are their D tackles better than our D tackles? I don't think so. They have two advantages. Quarterback, obviously, huge advantage, and tight end. But the Eagles have a really good tight end and quarterback too. So it's not like, they're just going to exploit that. I mean, I think Jalen's going to have a good game. I don't think he's going to fall out. He's hurt. He's going to get surgery in the offseason on his shoulder, I'm fairly certain. But I just think they're going to let him loose running. I think I'm going to take the over on his rushing yards for sure, because I think, it's last game of the season. We don't got to save him for shit. Like, ball. If you watch, like, I follow, like, Brian Baldinger and stuff on Twitter. I love watching, like, he's funny as shit. I love watching, like, his little clips. And, dude, they were showing the runs against the Niners. Like, Fred Warner was frozen because he couldn't commit to the running back because Jalen could have just tucked it and ran on a read option. And, like, that's why they kept scoring in the red zone on the running plays, because the linebackers were just frozen. They basically, by the time they dissected the play, they already had a guard, a pulling guard on them. They already had a crashing tackle on them. Like, I don't see it, man. I don't see it.
I mean, let's just break it down even further. So obviously, quarterback, Kansas City has that advantage. Yeah. Head coach, Kansas City has that advantage.
Yeah.
However, that's really it.
Yeah.
Better offensive line, Eagles.
I don't even think that's close. Even though they have a really good line, but I think the Eagles, like, if they win this game, I think they're going to go down as one of those, like, really famous units that people talk about. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be one of the better O-lines of all time. I really do believe that.
Better offensive skill positions or position players, Eagles.
Not even close.
Better defensive front, Eagles. Better secondary, Eagles. And then break it down even further. Between Smith-Schuster and I don't know who would match up on him, but Darius Slay. Slay. Or James Bradbury is the better player.
Yeah.
MVS, Darius Slay or MVS. Darius Slay is the better player.
Juju's not 100%. He's been nursing an ankle all week, so it's not like he's going to go out there and give any wiggle or anything, man. Like,
and isn't Mecole Hardman out of the game too?
Oh yeah, and this is that is one thing I want to give Nick Sirianni credit for, and a lot of it's luck. Don't get me wrong, but do you remember those years with Doug, dude, when the Eagles just were the most hurt team in the league every year? They had so many injuries, dude.
Yeah. Toward the end of his time there, yeah.
All 22 starters are playing in this game. I'd be shocked to see if there's another team that's done that in the last 10 years.
One more thing. Which is the more physical team in your opinion?
100% the Eagles.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are a finesse team, which is fine. Like,
it can happen. a lot has to go right for I think a lot has to go right for the Chiefs.
Yes. Like we said, Mahomes has to go nuclear. Andy Reid's going to have to, which I fully expect Andy Reid to have a masterful game. They'll hit trick plays. I can tell I'm going to be pacing from, some big play here, some big play there. But I just think at the end of the day, man, when it's late in the, third quarter, early fourth quarter, they're just going to be pounding the fucking rock on them, and they're not going to be able to stop it. That's how I feel. So
it might be close, late third quarter, early fourth quarter. I think Philly's going to wear them down.
Yep. And that's what happened against the Niners, by the way. Beginning of the game, they couldn't run, but by the time the third quarter, granted, they probably felt like the game was over. They were pissed. They didn't want to be there. Like, I get it. There's context to this, and I'm not trying to act like there's not. But by the end of that game, they weren't stopping shit. They were running all over them by the end of that game. They had Gardner Minshew and backup linemen in with like 7 minutes left in the game. Like, it was a joke. And that's one thing that kind of worries me is if they do have to play a full quarters, which obviously I expect it's a Super Bowl. The Eagles haven't had to do that in a while. And I want to put...
I worry how a young quarterback like Jalen Hurts is going to play to start the game.
But this is the thing.
That's why getting him, like you said, getting him in a rhythm in the run game is going to be really important.
If there's anyone I don't worry about just like folding mentally, it's Jalen Hurts.
Oh, true.
Dude, he's like a robot, dude. I fucking love that dude. I talked so much shit on Howie Roseman, so much on Jalen Hurts, and at the time it was deserved. And I put my hand up and said I was wrong, like a lot of Eagles fans. But like, dude, that dude is up here. He is fucking second to none. I mean, he's a nutcase. Seriously, like.
Yeah, I picked him to win Super Bowl MVP. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that. I didn't want to do it. I honestly debated going with like kind of off the books and going with like a defensive player like Hassan Reddick or someone.
Reddick getting 2 sacks and getting it.
I could see him having. I'm trying to remember. Did Von Miller, was he Super Bowl MVP? I could see him having a game like that.
Yep, I agree. I think he could be, it could be anybody, and that's why I think the Eagles are going to win. You know what I mean? It could be anybody. If the Chiefs win, Pat Mahomes is winning the Super Bowl MVP. So if you think the Chiefs are winning, go put your.
And then it's just you can't even. I mean, you're going to be mad because it's a Super Bowl, but you're like, best quarterback in the game got hot. Like, what were we supposed to do?
So, I had one more point that I wanted to make, and I forget what it was. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know, man. Without Tyreek Hill, this team just doesn't scare me like it used to. I think they're going to have to, and these are the most annoying games because it's just like 6-yard play, 6-yard play, 6-yard play. But Pat Mahomes isn't Tom Brady in the sense that, like, Tom Brady will just take 6 yards all the way down. Dude, that's not how Pat is. He's going to get bored. He's going to start throwing shit. He's going to start doing his little twirls in the pocket. That's great. I don't see that working out too well for him. So, damn, I had a good point I wanted to make. But, yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. That's what I wanted to make. If the Eagles win, even if they don't win this game, I want to put this to rest right now. They didn't play anybody shit. If they are running teams off the field, stop saying that. Because, dude, this is what people said in 2017 when they were beating the shit out of the Bears and like the Broncos. They went on this run where they were beating – dude, they were shedding Carson Wentz in all the fourth quarters of these games because they were beating them so bad. And everyone was like, oh, but you haven't played anyone. You haven't played anyone. They're fucking trashing professional football teams.
I don't know if there is an argument. Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say the Vikings, for example. They beat a lot of teams this year where you're like, they didn't really play anybody. Like, they beat the Bills and stuff. But you know what I mean? But all their games were close. So you can make – they just had a ball bounced away. Like, dude, if you're not even playing your starting quarterback in the fourth quarter, like, that's a great team. That's a great team. So I just wanted to make that point because I remember in 2017 – the Eagles were like, I don't know, like 8-2 or something, and everyone was like, you haven't played anyone. Then they played the Seahawks and lost. And they were like, look, you finally played a good team and you lost. Dude, if you're running teams off the field like they have this playoffs, you're a good team. Period.
I'm not sure there's an argument I hate more in the NFL than the you haven't played anyone argument. This is the fucking NFL. It's best on best. Anyone can beat anyone. Like, I loathe that argument.
How many good teams were there even this year?
Not many in the NFC.
4?
There were 4. I thought 4 great teams that could win the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Maybe 5.
The Bengals, Chiefs, Eagles, Niners, and then I think you could throw the Cowboys in there at least for a lot of the year. They looked really
Oh,
good.
I would have gone Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, Eagles. Those four.
Yeah, so, like, but my point is, it's like, what, do you want them to play all four of them in the regular season? Like, it's not going to happen. The Chiefs played the Bengals and lost this year, and the Bills this year and lost. So what the hell? And then I heard people today, oh, well, the Eagles lost to the Redskins. Let's look what this looked like. Oh, this is what the Chiefs lost to the Colts. Like, it happens. Like, teams lose to teams that aren't as good as them all the time. It happens. So I just think that whole, like, scheduling thing is really dumb. I want to concede to you on that because you were saying all year, like, no, I'm not even putting the Vikings in my top 5. I don't care that they're 10-1.
I don't think I ever put them in my top 5.
You were right. I'll give you that. You were completely right.
Well, there's a difference. So I can understand being skeptical of a team. You know, like I was skeptical of the Eagles through the first 5 to 6 weeks, maybe. I was like, I don't know yet. But then I'm like, okay, this is going on 7, 8 weeks in a row, 10 weeks in a row. They're kicking everyone's ass. They're running for 200 yards a game. This is legit.
You know what I mean? They're doing it in different ways.
Yes.
There was a week where Jalen would have 350 passing yards. Then the next week they'd have 200 yards on the ground. Then the next week they'd have 3 interceptions. Like, it was just, I was like, you can tell this is a really good team. And I just
very complimentary football. And that's another reason why I think they're going to win on Sunday.
Man, if the Eagles win, I'm going to act like a fucking maniac.
Are you going to work on Monday?
I'm going to be in Philly on Sunday. I'm going to tell you right now, if the Eagles win, I will call my boss drunk at 3 in the morning and be like, I am not fucking coming in today. So
I remember working in Nashville during the Super Bowl. It was the 28-3 Super Bowl with the Patriots. And one of the guys in my office was from Boston, big Patriots fan. And I remember that game, you know, obviously huge, you know, moment in NFL history. And on top of it being the Super Bowl. And I remember one of our leaders in the newsroom got a text and was like, okay, Ed's not coming in tomorrow. I was like, I laughed. I was like, what did he say? And he was like, he just said he started cracking open some beers. He's not coming in tomorrow.
Be an American holiday, in my opinion. I mean,
I saw a state was trying to make it a holiday. I forget which one.
Why not? Like, and don't make it like a thing where, like, oh, companies have to give you off, but it's
No.
just like holiday. Like, it should just be like, yeah, like, this is a day. Everyone stayed up late. Everyone drank a little bit. Like, this is America's pastime at this point. Like, it's one game. Everyone watches it, even if you don't like football. Literally,
if you don't like football, it's not necessarily that I think you're watching the game. You're going somewhere where the game is on, though.
Like, it is it's a national event for the United States of America. Like, I think there's very good reason to be like, yeah, like, this is a holiday. You don't have to give your employees off, but, like, some companies should. I don't know.
I was talking to a coworker today, and I was like, you know, I haven't missed a Super Bowl. The very first Super Bowl I remember was the Patriots-Rams. The very first one Brady won. And I haven't missed one since. However, in 2014, after Green Bay blew that NFC Championship against Seattle, I swore, you were there, I swore to myself I wasn't going to watch that Super Bowl. And I missed the first quarter. I did miss the first quarter, but then I was like, I got to watch this.
You know what I mean?
I did miss the first quarter, though. I was like, I'm not going to watch it. Then it was all over social media. I'm like, okay, I'll watch it.
And one thing I'm going to tell you right now, this was the funnest football season I've ever had. I'm so sad it's about to end. Whether they lose, it'd be fucking sweet to cap it off with a Super Bowl win. But, like, damn, this season was fun, man. Like, it was just cool. I love this season.
Then your next favorite season's coming, which is draft season.
Oh my god, dude! I can't fucking wait. By the way, so let's just touch on that for a second. What would you like the Packers to draft? And by the way, you might have some picks.
We might. I've debated. I want to do it. I don't know when, but I want to do the Bernie Sanders. Like, I want to do a blog post and reference Bernie Sanders. I am once again asking the Packers to trade Aaron Rodgers. That's what I want to title it. But I haven't done it yet just because I've already made that argument.
Eagles need a back. That's what I think they're going to draft. But this is actually a better question for you. And then, you know, I don't know how much I have left after that. But what do you think they can get? Because I've seen some crazy shit to where, I mean, personally, I wouldn't even trade a first for Aaron Rodgers, but I know a team is going to trade a first and some change, if not 2 firsts. What do you think?
The only team I think that might is the Jets, just because I think they're that desperate.
what do you realistically think you're going to get?
A first and change.
I say it's going to be a first and a conditional, where it's like
probably a conditional.
I'll literally give you 2 firsts. If we get to because he's going to go to the AFC, clearly it's going to be probably the Raiders or the Jets. If we get to the AFC Championship game, it's a second. If we get to the Super Bowl, it's a first. Otherwise, it's a third, like a first and a third conditional, just something like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like this has to be worth it, or like
I don't think it would be a player. Green Bay typically does. I think that they're so caught up, and it's worked for them in drafting and developing. They want their own guys, and I think it would only be picks. It wouldn't be players. A first, third, maybe a day 3.
No, I was gonna say, and I think you can get more than that. Was kind of. I could even see them doing like first, third, and like Renfro or something like that. No.
Yeah, unless it's like a bona fide player. Like I've seen a lot of Darren Waller out there. I think Green Bay would take Darren Waller.
Yeah.
But like I don't think they're gonna take some development guy that they didn't draft.
Yeah, and So, I was just I realized that we hadn't really talked much about Aaron Rodgers, so I was curious to your thoughts there.
He doesn't sound like a guy that's gonna give it up, and of course, we haven't talked about Tom Brady retiring again. But I don't think he's going to retire. He's no way in hell he's going to share the stage with Tom Brady and Canton in 5 years.
And I personally, if you ask me the number one reason I don't think he retires, not that money's everything, but I mean, he is owed over $50 million. Like, I don't think you leave that. Not $20 million. Like
he can say all he wants about, I'll leave that on the table. And he's made plenty of money in his career, but he's guaranteed, I think, $59, almost $60 million.
Playing for that.
Yeah.
I would go play on a JV team in the NFL. Truly.
I'd get my ass kicked every day for 6 months for $60 million.
Yes. So, like, he's playing. It's just – and I think there's a better chance he stays in Green Bay than a lot of people think, but I don't think that's going to happen for what it's worth. I wouldn't want him, and not in the sense that he's not a great player for your franchise, not that he doesn't give you the best chance to win next year, all those things, but it's just like – if you keep him, you're never going to get anything for him. It's like you might as well just go not rebuild. Good franchises, Eagles, Packers, teams like that. They don't rebuild. They kind of just retool. I think it's a perfect opportunity to finally retool. Your defense looks good. You can draft, a couple skill position players, another O lineman, a couple D linemen. I think you said you needed a safety probably.
Yeah. I personally, I've thought about it. Personally, I think safety is the biggest need for Green Bay. That's an unpopular opinion, but it's true. Adrian Amos is a free agent. Darnell Savage is a free agent next year. They 3 of their top 4 safeties are free agents either this year or next year.
They won't re-sign either of them?
I don't think Amos, because he didn't have a very good year. Rudy Ford was that's one I think they could bring back. Savage struggled, but he's next year, so he's under contract for 1 more year. But it's just one of those things. We got to address this. And it might not be a first, but they could use a receiver. I think they need a tight end more than a receiver, honestly. I would love for them to draft Michael Mayer. I'm not sure they will in the first round.
Well, the thing is, it depends on if you keep Rodgers or not, because if you go with Love, you do want a really good tight end.
I agree, yeah.
Dude, my coach used to say all growing up, tight ends always
That's been my argument with Rodgers. You don't need to draft one in the first round when you have Rodgers.
Doesn't throw to the tight end, which works for him. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think if you go with Love, you could definitely put in a high pick for, if you think that guy is going to be a top 5 tight end, draft him. Who gives a shit?
I think he's just one of the safest picks of the draft. And then, I'm going to hear a lot of talk about receiver, but here's the thing. I'm telling everyone right now, based on what I've heard, I wouldn't expect a receiver to be drafted in the top 15 or 20 picks.
I don't like any of the receivers. I heard the guy from Ohio State is going to fall maybe out of the first round.
Yeah.
I don't do receiver, Quentin Williams.
I'm not there yet, but I think it's not going to be 5 guys. It might be 4. It's probably more likely going to be 3 in the first round.
Yeah, and then the USC receiver, right?
Addison, but he's too skinny for me.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I don't see any dogs in this
I
draft.
like Quentin Johnston. I like Zay Flowers. I don't know. Something about those kind of small school guys I kind of like. And I heard he's the best guy at creating separation, which that always translates. I think Smith and Jeba could be good, but we'll see.
have my new Josh Allen coming out, and it's Richardson.
What's that?
Anthony Richardson is going to be my new Josh
Oh,
Allen.
you've already said that, yeah.
He's going to get replaced, but he's going to be the guy that's a big project that's probably going to be like the third quarterback taken that I think is going to be better than all these guys. Truly. I don't think he'll go fourth after the combine and stuff.
You don't think?
So Bryce Young is going to be one of the funniest busts of all time because once he gets in the NFL, it's going to be so obvious. They're going to be like, oh, this is a child. This is a small child playing in the NFL. Stroud, I think, when you saw him play an NFL defense, he got fucking smoked. The Michigan twice.
Except Georgia.
Time. Though I do think he's good, I'd probably take him first if I was,
I think he's got a higher upside than Bryce Young. However, I'm not a big fan of those Ohio State quarterbacks. They're loaded with talent around them.
And I can tell you, I think a lot of people are kind of shitting on Will Levis. Not that I would take him first or anything, but like, dude, he has NFL traits. He has a great arm. He's playing with great players. He's playing in the SEC against.
I would say that's the guy I'm gravitating toward. The big thing with him though is he's already like 24. And that worries me.
But this is, I'm just a sucker for the guys who look like it's so easy to throw, and they just do that. And the dude, that's Richardson. When I watch these videos, just like Rodgers has it to a T, dude. We're like, when we had Wentz, dude, like Wentz had a cannon, but if you watched him play, it looked so hard for him to throw, dude. Just like big, like
so.
Like it hurt.
You played quarterback in high school. How far could you throw the ball in high school?
In pads?
Yeah, in pads.
Probably 50 yards in there.
So, I've always thought, like, I could probably do 50. And I went to the beach, and I started throwing the football with my brother. I couldn't get that thing 20 yards.
Well,
I had to do everything in my power to get it 20 yards.
Well, not in pads right now. I could throw 60 yards, for sure.
Damn.
I know I could. I got fucking...
Now, granted, I'm years out of practice of throwing the football, but no, I was like, oh my god, I have a noodle arm.
Dude, it's way harder to throw in pads than I think a lot of people realize. That's why, dude, when I watch these like pro days and they're throwing in fucking t-shirts on air, I'm like, dude, he's going to the NFL. Of course he can hit a bomb on air with no fucking pads on. Why are you impressed by that? Like, I saw, like, Malik Willis was so funny.
However, I was salivating at Josh Allen at the combine.
That wasn't why, dude. I just looked at Josh Allen, and I'm like, dude, he has the strongest arm anyone's ever seen. Pick him and make him good. That was just my thought process the whole time. I'm like, this dude's massive. He has the strongest arm. Dude, they were saying this dude could stand flat-footed forward and throw the ball 80 yards in the air. I'm like, draft that guy.
That's insane.
He could throw the ball almost 100 yards, dude. That's fucking nuts. And then it's like looking back like at like Justin Herbert. It's like, so a 4-year 6'6" starter who ran a 4.65, like, why did you take two over this guy? Like, dude, I learned from every – I think that's why I do so well in the draft, because I learned from every draft that happens where I'm like, yeah, that should have been fucking obvious.
I think that's why I do so well in the draft.
No, I mean, dude, I'm telling my fucking – dude,
the arrogance on you.
And you do, dude, you do too. Like, dude, Mel Kiper is ESPN's draft. I don't.
I think you're better at that than Kiper is. I'm probably a little bit worse than him, but
dude, that's what he did. He lives in Baltimore, by the way. I saw him at the grocery store.
Oh yeah. Did you tell him that you beat him in the draft?
I quit, dude. But I can't wait for the draft. You got me excited.
I know. That's why I brought it up.
Get Tyree Wilson or Jackson?
I'm not sure he's gonna be there at 10.
No, he's not. He's definitely not. But yeah. I could see Howie packaging both first to go to like something if he's there.
I do like him. I think that's one-year starters always worry me, but he's got the traits. And once I heard it on a podcast this week, once the board becomes kind of unpredictable, teams start betting on traits.
Yeah, 100%.
And the board is going to become unpredictable this year after about the 4th pick.
This is my thing. I totally get, like, production matters. You can't just suck in college and get drafted and everything. But, like, if you're actually an NFL coach, like a genuine NFL coach, you should be able to coach these guys up. Like, that's your job. And that was, last thing I'll say, that was Doug Peterson's biggest problem, and I think we're seeing it now. Great in-game coacher, great Sunday coach, but, like, he didn't develop a single player on our entire team, and I think that's why it looked like Howie Roseman couldn't draft there for a couple years, because just no one got better. Now, Nick's on the fucking team, and it seems like all of our draft picks are hitting because they actually are developing people. So I think NFL coaches, like, that's why I said I'd draft Anthony Richardson #1 overall. I swear to God I would.
I mean, I'm a pussy. I would still probably go with Bryce Young.
No shot. No fucking shot, man. Not #1.
I'm higher on him than you are, clearly. Because I'm lukewarm on him, though. I want to make that clear.
This is my thing. Let's talk about other small quarterbacks. Okay, so we got Kyler Murray, who, by the way, hasn't accomplished shit yet, but I like as a player. Kyler Murray has a fucking laser and runs a 4.3.
Yeah.
Okay. Laser beam and runs a 4.3. They talk about Russell. Dude, Russell Wilson ran a 4.5 and is not small. He's just short. Like, he's not small.
Right.
That's my Bryce Young. He's my size. He's 5'9", 180 pounds. Like, I'm not lasting in the NFL, dude. That's just not happening. He is going to get broken in fucking half.
So, yes, that is why I'm lukewarm on Bryce Young. The reasons why I like him. One, he does things right. However, he doesn't do anything really exceptional, but he does things right. I think he sees the field very well. I think he understands defenses and coverages and all that stuff. Number two, unlike other Alabama quarterbacks who came through the draft, I don't think he had as much to work with as they did.
That is a fact. Now, granted, to counter your point, even though I think it's going to make your point even harder, he just looks like Tua to me, dude. He looks like Tua. Like,
it just goes back to my point. He just doesn't do anything exceptionally well to me.
And it's like,
he's not that mobile. His arm's not that great, but he does see the field very well.
What, dude?
And exactly. And when you combine that with his size, that worries me a lot.
That's not a #1 draft pick, man.
I agree.
Where, like, if I'm like a team who needs a quarterback, and it's like, dude, I wouldn't take him in the first 10 picks. I swear to God, I wouldn't. No.
Like I said, I would probably puss out and go with him. However, if I had like a coach in my ear, I would say I could be swayed to Levis or Richardson or Stroud even.
I think the combine is going to bump Bryce Young down a little bit because he's going to get measured, and I don't even think he's going to be.
I'm curious to see what he measures in at.
Hang him upside down.
They have him at 6'1", like 200 or something, 190. I watch him. I'm like, I don't think so.
He's not that big. So they said they're going to get him up above 200 pounds for the comp. But like,
I don't think so.
No, dude, he is a frail human being, dude. Like, he's a college quarterback, in my opinion. He's just not going to make it in the NFL, dude. Like, 17 games.
I want to see how Will Levis comes in. If he's 6'5", 230, I'm going to be like, I want that dude.
Wrist flick. Like, dude, you watch Rose, I'm like, holy shit, this dude has an arm. Like
a lot of people don't like him. I like him a lot more than other people. But
like, you know, I think people personally that don't know fucking ball and don't know how people actually translate from college in the NFL are like, oh, well, look at his stats. Like, yeah, this and it. It's like, dude, I don't want to say that doesn't matter because you do have to perform, but it's like, dude, we're talking about a projection here. That's what the draft is. Now, him being that old, I don't like as well. I feel like players.
That's my one big red flag with him.
He might be at his ceiling. You know what I mean? Doesn't get physically any better than he is right now, and that kind of scares me. But like, dude, I would take Stroud and Levis and Richardson over Bryce Young.
You're better at the quarterbacks than I am.
I told you my criteria.
Well, I just remember back when Mahomes came out. You were like, I love Deshaun Watson. I was like, I'm a Mitch Trubisky guy. Yeah. Which I was. I embraced that. I was.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I didn't even really know who the fuck Pat Mahomes was until he got. I mean, I did because he was in the Big 12, but like, I didn't really know who Pat Mahomes was.
I was like, I mean, he's got a big arm, but. It's funny how that works out.
Pat Mahomes Josh Allen should be the new blueprint. Like, dude, if this guy has a fucking cannon, then teach him how to play football in the NFL. Like, you can't teach that. You're not going to be able to teach Bryce Young to have a laser. He just doesn't have one.
How many great quarterbacks have come through the draft who didn't have great arms, who went on to be great in the NFL? Peyton Manning is one.
Drew Brees. Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, throw in Phillip Rivers.
Not that many. That's my...
Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Roethlisberger, Allen, Rockets for arms.
Yes. Especially, now, granted, Bryce Young is probably either going to go to, Detroit in a dome or, down in Houston and going to play in warm weather. But, like, dude, if I'm drafting above, like, Virginia, anywhere, like, dude, there's no way I'm picking a small guy. Like, you need a big motherfucker to play.
I'm curious to see how. That's why I'm curious to see how Kenny Pickett does these next couple of years.
He looked a little better than I thought, but he did ultimately fit my criteria for what I look for in a quarterback.
I was a Malik Willis guy, but I knew that wasn't just a project. That was a super project.
Well, but like also you had to pick. It wasn't a quarterback. So, like you had to cling to somebody, right?
And
like,
then I did say that I like Desmond Ridder a lot more than other people, and he looked all right.
I think he'll look okay this year. Yeah, I think he's going to start, unless they get Lamar Jackson.
Unless he pulls a Devontae Adams or a Josh Norman, there's something with those franchise tags. There's a way out of them. I forget what Josh Norman did. Basically, I don't
trade him.
Well, somehow Josh Norman became a free agent late in the process.
No, I mean they can 100%. I'm pretty sure they can 50-year option him still.
No, this is it. He was drafted in 2018.
Oh, well, I mean, that's what the franchise tag is for. Like, he's not going to be able to get out of it. Like, but obviously, it's one of those leverage situations where it's like, well, if you don't want to play for us, I might as well go get 2 first-round picks
right.
for you. But, no, I mean, that's literally what the franchise tag is for. That's why the fucking
Did you see Von Miller say that Lamar Jackson should be paid more than Aaron Rodgers?
I'm so glad you said that. Listen, I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's a good
I do,
dude.
too.
I think he's a really talented guy. You can win a shitload of games for him. What the fuck has he done since 2019 to where people are still on his dick this hard? He's had 3 average seasons in a row and been hurt for an extended period of time in 2 of them. And you're just going to be like, I'm going to give him $50 million a year guaranteed. He deserves it. Like, I'm tired of deserves. Like, that doesn't exist in pro sports. You don't get a contract because you deserve it. You get a contract because you earn it. He hasn't earned $50 million a year. Give me a fucking break, dude. Like, dude, he's getting bad advice.
Yeah. He needs an agent.
And
I love my mom. I'm not making her my agent.
Dude, I think this is ridiculous at this point. What he's like, he deserves what? For what? Because of his MVP, the 2 before Aaron Rodgers has won the last 2?
Yeah, he was the last one. Well, before Mahomes. Or, like, I mean, Mahomes won this year, we think.
But I'm saying, you know what I mean? They're like, the only thing I can think of is like, oh, he deserves more than Rodgers. He won an MVP 2019. Who won 2020 and 2021? Like,
Rodgers.
What are you talking about? Like, this, I don't know, man. I was just like, I think a lot of players, like, they have no horse in the race, so obviously they're going to be like, yeah, he deserves all the money in the world. Like, that, I just think it was some bullshit, to be honest with you. I don't think he really meant that.
Well, he said, I didn't watch the clip. I saw a quote, and it might have been out of context, but it said, like, he does more. In what way does he do more than Aaron Rodgers?
Like I get it. Like,
is he a better runner? Sure. He's
a great football player. Like, I'm not trying to like downplay Lamar Jackson's talent, but it's like, dude, he's not. I don't even think he's top 5.
No.
I think argument maybe he's 5th, but I think he's probably like 7th or 8th. Like, dude, you're not getting that.
I would put him I like the guy. I'd put him somewhere in the back half of the top 10 probably, but not top 5. And I'm excluding Rodgers in that.
Yeah,
Brady's out of the league. Rodgers is about to be out of the league. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen.
Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert. I'd probably throw in there.
There's a lot less quarterbacks than there used to be, man. Because I remember
you could argue Stafford, but I'm kind of off the Stafford train.
I was trying to make a top 10 the other day, and I got to like 8. I was like, damn, these guys aren't that good.
Did you include Rodgers?
Yeah. Like, dude, you basically Obviously, at the end, you had to throw in, like, a Dak Prescott or a Kyler Murray or a Kirk Cousins, which, fine. But, like, dude, if that's, like, the 10th best quarterback in the league, that means 11 through 32 are fucking horrible, dude.
So let's think. I'm trying to think of others.
All right, I want to put them in order, but just 10. So, obviously, your obvious ones, Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Burrow, Rodgers.
I say leave him out.
Nah, he's still top 10.
Well, I just mean he's about done.
Lamar. I'm only on 6, and I'm already like, holy shit, dude, who's 7?
I'm trying to think of the teams in order. Watson, maybe?
No. Watson is not top 10 right now. He hasn't played in 2 years, and he played last year, and he looked like shit. I'm not putting him there right now.
Jalen. Throw Russell Wilson in there?
Jalen's probably 8, 9, or 10, but like.
Oh yeah, I would put Jalen Hurts in the top 5.
Nah, not yet. If he does it one more year, if he has this year again next year, but I don't think he's there yet. That's what I'm saying though. Look at this, dude. We're on 7, and we're like, Dak, I guess.
Yeah, Dak.
Who again? I think is a very good player. He's not great. Like
Cousins.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're putting Cousins at like 9. Like. Dude, it used to be like, we used to have...
The NFC South has terrible quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could kind of put Stafford in there. If he comes back. Kyler Murray. Like, it's these type of players where it's like...
Yeah, and then even the Niners, I'm looking at Purdy and Trey Lance and Garoppolo.
Did not.
Yeah, shit. Holy shit, you're right.
But that's what... Dude, we were talking... And I was just like, dude, I got to like 7, and I was... Because we were arguing about Lamar, ironically, and I was like, dude, I don't really think he's top 5. But then I was looking at it, and I was like, I got to put him 6 or 7 because there's nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
It was just, I don't know, I just wanted to make that point because I was like, dude, we got to like 8, and I was like, Dak, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, you're right. I would probably put Lamar at 5. I mean, at least he has the MVP. Hurts doesn't.
Yeah. So,
then I'd probably go Hurts 6. Holy shit, you're right.
That's what, dude, because Tom Brady's gone now, and like everyone left, dude.
So I want to talk about this with you. I've seen a lot of like this era is over with the Manning brothers, Brady, Rivers, Breeze, Roethlisberger, and I'm like, at least for me, I'm like, I feel like Rodgers is still like is in that camp, but no one is really saying that. I think he's the last one of that era.
I do, but he is technically way later than those guys. He didn't play till what, 2009?
Yeah, true.
But no, I would consider him in that. But
yeah, I mean, him and Matt Ryan are more in the same area.
I agree. But
that's fair.
Dude.
Yeah, probably him, Stafford, and Ryan are probably that next batch. Yep. That's fair. I didn't think about that. Even though he was drafted in 05 and the Manning, Eli was drafted in, and Rivers were drafted in 04.
Yep. Hey man, that's we had a good show here.
Yeah, we went on way longer than I thought we would.
Talking
ball, Super Bowl. I think I'm gonna title this Super Bowl 57, preview, whatever, and then in parenthesis, Go Birds, CAW. CAW!
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Later.